Shaw, CEO of the International Group, and today we are going to have a chat with the Group Chair. Welcome, Paul. Good to have you here today. And I thought maybe the first subject which has been of great concern to the reinsurance markets has been the pool claims environment, and also whether this is a trend or whether there's some sort of escalation in claims. And whether this is something which they need to be concerned about going forward. And I thought maybe we could start by talking about the second largest claim that the group has ever had, which is the Golden Ray, which of course is a North case. Yeah. And perhaps we could have your take as to where you've reached on that and some of the good points and some of the difficult points that you faced along the way.
Thanks, Nick. No, it's great to be here out in the open in London. I'm travelling down from Newcastle to warm, sunny London, so nice to have a chat. I think, well, it's a talk about the Golden Ray first, and obviously you and I talk about this a lot on an ongoing basis. I mean, firstly, it is a very, very difficult situation, a very difficult claim, and as you rightly say, it's now cost-wise got to be the second largest of all of the international group claims. The challenge all the way through here, really, in dealing with this, has been the environmental impact. It's a major engineering feat, which is the full details of that, the technicalities of that I won't go into today. They're probably beyond my technical competence to talk about those, but the environmental impact and minimising that and actually I think probably all the things that we talk about as important in the international group in terms of our preservation of the marine environment and making sure that after a casualty like this, which is an unprecedented type thing to happen, particularly so close into port, etc., is for us as a group to be there to sort the problem out. And I think we've been doing that. We've had lots of challenges along the way, not least pandemic coming along as well. But I think again, going back to the environmental position, with the environmental protection barrier we have around, etc., the way that the wreck is being cut up and removed as well in as environmentally friendly way as we possibly can, and working very closely with the local Coast Guard and the unified command that is there, I'm absolutely convinced that we've minimised this as much as we possibly can. Now, it's a large number, and it has increased, and it's increased because of a lot of things beyond our control or expectation. Pandemic, COVID being one of those in particular. But I'm satisfied that we're dealing with this as prudently as we possibly can, using all of the expertise within the group, not just what we have at North, but calling on everybody in the group to help us and use their expertise.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the sort of key things about the group is because we've got so much shared expertise, it's the ability to bring that to bear and have the clubs working together to resolve an issue with the collective expertise. And often these situations are one-offs and they may never ever be repeated. One hopes they aren't.
Absolutely.
But the imagination and working together with the salvage industry can lead to a pretty good resolution, which also means that the marine environment is fully restored at the end of the day, which is absolutely paramount for the group and for the maritime authorities around the world.
I mean, the interesting thing is the actual number of pool claims hasn't increased dramatically.
No, it hasn't.
As you know, again, you know better than I do, that hasn't gone up dramatically. But the value of the individual claims within there has increased. But in the main, particularly last year, virtually all of that was retained by the clubs.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It didn't actually spill over into the reinsurance contract or breach the retentions on the reinsurance contract.
Yeah, I mean, on average, I think over the last 10 years, it's been roughly between 1.5 to 2 reinsurance claims that have actually hit the general excess of loss per year. So that hasn't changed. Perhaps one of the other claims of real interest to the market has been the Ever Given, which was stuck in the middle of the Suez Canal, as everyone knows, and achieved quite a lot of notoriety for the 6 days when the vessel was stuck there. I was being rung up by the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and saying, is this going to breach the collective overspill? And in the same way as obviously the Golden Ray has gone out a bit in terms of the estimate, that's one where, in fact, whilst the actual number is confidential, the pool claim has been retained and within a very sensible figure really at the end of the day. And I think it does show that some of the expectations from the market are that these claims can become very, very large very quickly, but actually they end up being containable. And that's a really, shows the club system working, it shows the claims handlers working, it shows the ability to try to minimise the loss. And then after the event is to go back in and work with the authorities and try and make sure that doesn't happen again. So of course there's already work starting on what to do next in relation to those.
I think it's a really important one, isn't it, the Ever Given, because you say it was tremendous notoriety, and probably even for us who are used to meeting friends and going to dinner parties, and nobody wants to talk about P&I. All of a sudden, everybody was asking, "Is that ship something to do with you guys?" And
absolutely,
and it was, and everybody felt that they had goods or something on the ship that were delayed. So I think it really did show the importance of global shipping and how fragile it can be, how it can be interrupted, and in some ways the role that we as the international group play in facilitating that and enabling that trade to continue. And I think that's it's a very important factor. But as you say, the lessons coming out of it are also things we should be looking at. Often we talk about the objectives of the group and what is the fundamental purpose of the international group, and they're manifold, of course, but pooling risks and buying collective reinsurance together is massively important, and it enables us as the group to provide those high levels of cover that our members then need in order to be able to trade. And not just a ticket to trade, because there's far more than that, but without the support of our reinsurers, then that wouldn't be possible. And I think it's correct, isn't it, that it is a symbiotic relationship that we have with our reinsurers. We understand the nature of that relationship, and as you know, when I was chair of the reinsurance committee, my mantra almost there was that in respecting this reinsurance relationship, we understand the reinsurer's role, we understand that we have to allow the reinsurers to invest and to make a return on their capital, and they understand that on occasions the claims will be heavy, but ultimately we have to put them back in a position where they're prepared to continue that relationship. And I think we're respectful of that, and I think in the time you've been in the group, Nick, you've got to know that relationship very well, I think, with our reinsurers.
Absolutely, Paul, and it is absolutely fundamental. It is the key to why the group is together in the first place, is the collective ability to both pool the big claims, but also to buy reinsurance cover from the global reinsurance markets, whether that be in Lloyd's just down the road or in some of the more global markets elsewhere.